So picture this. You're at work with mounds and mounds of papers on your desk with no end in sight, and just the thought of all of this work is making your head hurt. Or how about this? You get home after a long day just to find out that your water heater is broken and it's too late in the day to call someone to have them come out to fix it. So that means you have to do it tomorrow, but then that means you have to take off work. And remember, you have mounds and mounds of papers on your desk. What do you do? Or more importantly, how do you deal with that level of stress? Welcome back. My name is Catherine Simone, and today we're going to be talking about stress and anxiety, or more importantly, how to cope with it. But before I get into all of that, please make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can know anytime I post a new video. Also, don't forget to like this video and share with anybody who might need this content. Now let's get into it. Now we all know that life can be stressful and we all deal with anxiety. But what happens when that anxiety turns into depression? What happens when all of that leads to weight gain or loss, deteriorating health, or sleep deprivation? How do you deal with it then? Here's the thing. There's no one answer to that question. Everybody's situation is different, so we can't process everything exactly the same. But what you can do is become more aware of what you're dealing with and then seek out solutions that work and benefit your specific situation. So what I want to do is talk about the 5 steps that I use to help come out of my stress and anxiety when I was knee deep in it. But let me ask you a question first. How many of you know what I mean when I talk about overwhelming stress? If you know and you've been dealing with it, type reflections down in the comments below and let's talk about it. Also, I want to point out that I am not a licensed therapist. So everything that I'm listing on this channel is going to be my opinion and things that worked for me. They may not work for you, or it might be a starting foundation for you to seek out what you need, but definitely go out and reach out to a therapist because this information is give or take. I am not telling you definitely this is what you need to do. And that brings me to my first point, which is talk to someone. I mentioned this earlier this week on my Instagram where I talked about we can all benefit from some therapy. I'm going to say it again, and that's the reason why I posted that video earlier this week, because I wanted it to segue in. Therapy is helpful, and going and seeking it out does not mean that you're crazy, and it does not mean that you're broken. What it actually means is that you recognize that there is an issue that needs to be solved, and you're actively trying to fix it so that you can live a more rewarding and fulfilling life. So don't feel any kind of way about talking to a therapist. Sometimes just saying it out loud makes all the difference in the world. Number 2, let go of things that you cannot control. We get so hung up on trying to get all the little details to fall into place, or getting upset because we couldn't get that job we interviewed for, or we couldn't make that relationship work that we wanted so bad. But you can't force anybody to like you, and you can't force anybody to hire you. There's so many things in this world we can't control. So if you find that you're in a place where you have no control over the situation, learn from the lesson in it and move on. Let it go, because the longer you hold on to it, the more stress and anxiety you let build. Number 3, release your stress physically. And what I mean by this is exercise, yoga, meditation. Now, I know that meditation is both a physical and spiritual act. Spiritual because you're releasing the thoughts in your mind, but physical because you have to presently be there. You have to cut everything off and let your body relax and be there completely. I cannot stress how great it is to release when you move in your body or you're releasing your thought process. Physical acts of releasing stress are so important, they cannot be overlooked. I don't care what form of stress you're dealing with, this is a big helper to make it that much easier. Number 4, write it down. Now, therapy and journaling are somewhat similar. And the reason why I say that is because one requires you to say it out loud and one requires you to write it out and see it. But the thing about journaling that can be a little bit more helpful than maybe even therapy, well, not more helpful than therapy, but definitely helpful in its own unique way, is that you're boundless with writing. And what I mean by that is it can be hard to open up to somebody you don't know right away. Sometimes it takes a while for you to kind of open up to the idea of therapy. But with writing, it's all you, it's all your time, and you can just let loose. You have the freedom of just jotting down everything you're feeling without any restrictions, and just looking at it can help you come to realization of what you're dealing with. Number 5, and this is important, don't be afraid of change. If you're holding on to that relationship, that job, or that city that you live in that's not allowing you to grow and is causing you stress, you need to learn how to let it go and change. So many people hold on to the idea that, oh my God, I'm not ready to do something different because this is comfortable and I know how to work with this. But the longer you stay in that situation thinking that the people around you are going to change, the more stress and anxiety you're bringing onto yourself. Let it go and walk into a different direction. You will find so much peace in just letting go of things, like I said, you can't control. Now, of course, there are other steps that you can take to help you relieve stress and anxiety. These are just the 5 that worked for me as far as getting started. No matter what, there will always be stress and anxiety in this world. For me, my biggest stress is dealing with my job and not necessarily feeling fulfilled there, and trying to figure out exactly what my future holds for me and what direction I want to go in. For you, it might be something else. Regardless of what's stressing you out, I know that it will not change if you refuse to acknowledge it and do something about it. That's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you for joining me another week. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button like I mentioned earlier, and then leave a comment about something that's been stressing you out and how you've learned to deal with it. Also, check out my Instagram because I post every Tuesday and Wednesday. Check out my To Be Fair Tuesdays and my Career Choice Wednesdays. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Come back and join me every Friday on YouTube, and come back and join me every Tuesday and Wednesday on Instagram. Bye.